Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video day, and today I'm going to do my NFL 2024 playoff predictions, starting off with the wild card, then we'll go to the division round, championship games, and the big game in February, this Super Bowl. Let's get into it. Wild card starts off today, starting with the Texans and the Chargers at 3:30. Then tonight will be the Steelers and the Ravens, 3-game slate on Sunday, and a Monday nighter between Minnesota and LA and Arizona. Praying for everybody in Los Angeles. And we'll get to the division round and the championship games and the Super Bowl. All right. Starting off with the first game today, Texans-Chargers. I'm biased. I'm a Texans fan. But I think the Texans legitimately have a shot to win this football game today. Everybody's saying it's an easy bye week for the Chargers. It's not. The Chargers have had a tough time with teams that are over 500. Barely beat teams that are over 500. And not to mention, they're on the road in the playoffs. Big crowd in Houston. Texans fans are going to be roaring. And also another thing is these are two defenses going up. This is a defensive battle right here. Now, obviously the Chargers have a great defense, one of the best defenses in football. Let's not forget the Texans have probably the best defensive end duo in football, or one of the best, with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. They have an all-pro cornerback in Stingley. They have probably, I think, two of the best rookie defensive backs the defense has right now, with Kalen Bullock, who's favorite for defensive rookie of the year, and also Kamari Lassiter. So also linebacker side, this is going to be the first game where the Texans linebackers are healthy. Christian Harris, who had a pick six last year in the playoffs. Also Azeez Al-Shaair, who's going to be playing his first game with Christian Harris, and Henry To'o. Those three guys are playing their first game together today. And so this is a great defense going up against another great defense. And I think C.J. Stroud is one of the best quarterbacks in this league when he's protected. When he has time, C.J. Stroud is probably one of the most elite quarterbacks in the league. But when he doesn't have time, when the offensive line fails him and he panics and, is just all over the place, he is a bottom 5, bottom 7 quarterback in this league. There's a big difference. Like, look at when this guy just look at the clips when he has time, the O-line is protecting him. He is making some amazing throws. But when they don't, he panics and he just goes crazy. And that is the only bad thing about CJ Stroud. And the offensive line will be what kills or makes the Texans today. Like, the offensive line, if the Texans lose this game, it's going to be because of the offensive line. If they win, it's going to mainly be because they protected C.J. Stroud. The Texans are going to either win or lose this game today because of the offensive line. So I'm going with the Texans. I think the Chargers most likely probably win. But my point I'm trying to point across here is that it's not a bye week for the Chargers. I'm mainly pointing to Rex Ryan here and then everybody's been saying it after Rex Ryan said it. Rex Ryan said it. Now everybody else is saying it. This is not a bye week. The only two teams that have bye weeks are the Chargers. The Chiefs and the Lions. If anybody of all teams that if anybody has a bye week this week, a guaranteed win, it's the Buffalo Bills. That's the only team I can go look at and say, hey, this team is 100% going to win this week. There's no chance they lose. That's the Buffalo Bills. A bye week when you're playing is, well, it's really any given Sunday for any game. So you really can't say a bye week. But the only game I look at this week and say they are 100% going to win this game, there's not a chance that they are beat, is the Buffalo Bills with the Denver Broncos. The Eagles, I think, are big favorites over the Packers. I think they most likely get it done. But I'm not going to say the Eagles are 100% going to beat the Packers. There's no way the Packers go into Philadelphia and win. Same thing with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. So if I'm not going to say it with those two. I'm not going to say it with the Texans or the Chargers. There's no bye week for anybody besides the Chiefs and the Lions. And not only that, but if anybody has the bye week who's actually playing this week, it's the Bills and it's no one else. But so the Texans, I got the Texans against the Chargers, and we'll see who they play next week. We'll get to that in just a minute. Steelers, Ravens, these AFC North battles are always close. They're always, a defensive battle. So I think the Texans Chargers are a low scoring game, and I think that's the case for the other game we see. Tonight. I got the Ravens winning, but I think it's going to be a very close game. Denver Buffalo. I think it's pretty obvious who I'm already picking in this game, since I've already said, if anybody has a bye week this week, it's the Bills. Give me the Bills. That would wrap up the AFC in the divisional round. The Bills would play the Ravens. The Chiefs would play the Texans. NFC Vikings, Rams. Praying for everybody in Los Angeles. Games playing in Arizona. Yeah, I think the Rams lost kind of the home field advantage they had, although I don't know how much that was going to work for them. Playing against a 14-3 Vikings team. Give me the Vikings to move on. Commanders, Tampa Bay. Tampa has struggled on national television this year. I guess Baker's becoming the new Kirk Cousins. We'll see. But also, Baker was really good in the playoffs last year, had a great performance against Dallas, even was pretty good against the Lions, even though they lost against the Lions in the division round. But Jane Daniels is the real deal. I don't think the Bucs defense is very good at all. I think the Bucs defense is actually terrible. I think they're really bad. So give me the Commanders to win on the road. Packers, Eagles, I'm going with the Eagles. I hope this is a close game, but the Eagles might stomp the Packers. That really does it for the wild card. In the NFC, in the division round, the Lions would face the Commanders, and the Eagles would face the Vikings. Those are some good matchups in the NFC in the division round. All right, let's get into my AFC divisional round predictions. Texans Chiefs, love my Texans. I would hope this to be a close game. I will say this, divisional round, I think the Texans can be very competitive with the Kansas City Chiefs and keep it a close game. I mean, the Texans went into Kansas City and had an 8-point game, and was a very close game against Kansas City. And I think that they'll have guys on the field against Kansas City in the divisional round if they do play the Chiefs in the divisional round that they didn't have against the Chiefs in week 8 and week 16. So I think there will be guys on the field for the Texans that they didn't have against the Chiefs last time. That would be a big factor. So I think this is a close game, but the Chiefs are an elite team. Yes, they have a bunch of close games. That's another reason why I think this is a probably close game. But give me the Chiefs to beat my Houston Texans, and the Texans for another year not making it to the championship round. Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens, two top MVP candidates, the top two MVP candidates. I think Buffalo has a huge advantage being the home team in the cold. Obviously, the Ravens can play in the cold, but the Bills being the home team, give me Buffalo, and then we'll see another amazing matchup between Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC Championship. Then Detroit Commanders. I think this would be such a great matchup. Washington and Jaden Daniels against Jared Goff and the Lions. But I don't think I think this could be a close game. I don't think the Commanders have what it takes to take down the Lions. Give me the Lions going back to the NFC Championship. Then we have the Eagles versus the Vikings, a NFC Championship rematch from all the way back to 2018. Give me the Eagles to take down the Vikings again. I love the Vikings, but this Eagles defense is elite. I think they take down the Vikings in this one. And then the NFC Championship would be the Eagles Lions. And the AFC Championship is Chiefs Bills. The only team this year to beat the Kansas City Chiefs starters, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And give me the Buffalo Bills advancing to 2-0 in the year when facing the Kansas City Chiefs starters and finally beating them in the playoffs and heading to Josh Allen's first Super Bowl. Then the Eagles and Lions. Do we see the rematch of the incredible Lions game, the Lions-Bills game that was probably the best game of the year? Whether you want to decide between the Rams and the Lions, the Rams and the Bills, or the Lions and the Bills, those are two of the best games of the year. Or do we see the Eagles and the Bills? I love the Lions. They're a terrific team, but the Eagles' defense is elite. They've done a lot of killing this year, and going to be straight honest, if Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell do some of that, the crazy play calling they do, the fourth down plays, all the crazy stuff they do, I think This is another team, just like San Francisco last year. You saw all the mistakes starting to happen in the NFC Championship game, like not kicking field goals, going for it on fourth down, and them getting stopped by San Francisco's defense. This is, I think, a very similar team with Philadelphia. So if you start doing that kind of stuff, a lot like they did in the NFC Championship last year, Philadelphia will beat them. Like, instead, if you start taking field goals instead of going for them fourth downs, or if the Lions call smart plays, instead of doing all the dumb stuff they do, sometimes it's very efficient for them, and sometimes it's not, and it's definitely not going to be as good for you when you're facing a better defense. I just think that this is the game where it kind of messes up for them, and I'm going to go with the Eagles. And then the Eagles and the Bills. Does Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley win their first Super Bowl, or do the Buffalo Bills win this first Super Bowl? The Bills. So, that this would be a great Super Bowl for starters. I think the Eagles are a great team. Saquon Barkley is a great running back, but in the Super Bowl, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen to win it all. It's very likely that we have a quarterback or a team win their first Super Bowl, and look, the Eagles, obviously they won 2018, but Jalen Hurts has never won a Super Bowl. Same with the Packers and Jordan Love. Obviously the Commanders and Jaden Daniels have never won a Super Bowl. Same thing with the Lions and Jared Goff. The Bucks and Baker Mayfield. Baker's never won a Super Bowl. The Rams are one of the teams that have won with Matthew Stafford. Sam Darnold and the Vikings have never won. The same thing with the Chargers and Herbert and the Texans and Stroud. Russell Wilson has won a Super Bowl. Lamar hasn't. Bo Nix hasn't. Josh Allen. So there are 14 teams in the playoffs. There are only 3 quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl. So I would say there's a really good chance maybe this year we have a quarterback that doesn't win a Super Bowl. That hasn't won a Super Bowl win a Super Bowl. I think if Patrick Mahomes gets eliminated, I think there's a really good chance we see a quarterback win their first Super Bowl. Because I don't think the Steelers and Russell Wilson or the Rams or Matthew Stafford are going to go very far in the playoffs. But what I want to see in the playoffs, obviously I want my team to do well. I want my Texans to win it. But if they don't, I want to see someone who hasn't won a Super Bowl win. So if my Texans get eliminated, then I'm rooting for the Steelers to lose. I'm rooting for the Rams to lose. And then I'm kind of happy whoever else wins. So I'd be rooting. If my Texans lose today, I want the Chiefs to lose. I want the Steelers to lose. I want the Rams to lose. And anybody else can win. Because then if that happens, then someone's going to win some quarterback's going to win their first Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on the playoff starting? Give me your playoff predictions. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.